अगर मान लो मतलब अगर if I could, if I could turn invisible, चलो hypothetically, a wish granted true, I would definitely want to sort of unearth the fake ticket distribution scandal. Yeah, I think I would really want to do that. I would really want to know कि क्या सच में ऐसा होता है और अगर ऐसा होता है तो कैसा होता है.
For all film-related interviews, reviews, and content, please like and subscribe to Puja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram.
So good to see you.
So good to see you. मगर विक्रांत जी ये बताओ ये 2 साल से why are we only meeting online?
Because you refuse to come to Bombay.
वाह देखो आप दिल्ली नहीं आ सकते.
मैं आ रहा हूँ परसों. I'm coming there.
It's always good to see you whether it's online. Wow, देखो तब मिल लेते. But anyways, it's always a pleasure to meet you whether it's online or offline. How has it been? पहले तो बहुत बहुत मुबारक हाँ.
थैंक यू जी. आपकी मिठाई पेंडिंग है. आपकी मिठाई मेरे साथ बंबई से आएगी.
I'm looking forward to that because when we met, we were just discussing about that lovely sea-facing house. और मैंने ना इतना छुपा रुस्तम निकला इसने शादी कर ली 1 हफ्ते बाद.
हाँ मतलब कर ली शादी यार. करनी थी अभी मतलब क्या कर सकते हैं. मतलब 7 साल से लड़की ने बांध रखा है तो मतलब करनी पड़ी शादी.
सही में you are the suitable boy as I always say. but अभी तो आप अपना एक और पहलू दिखा रहे हो forensic expert. But you do realize जब भी कोई फिल्म आती है with विक्रांत मैसी का नाम जुड़ा होता है anticipation बहुत होती है.
Thank you so much for saying this thing. Thank you so much. Yeah, forensic officer. I'm playing a forensic officer this time because when I was approached with this film, I saw the film. It's adapted by the original. You're pretty much aware of the original forensic, which was done by Tovino sir and Mamta ma'am down south in the Malayalam cinema. So when I saw the film, I was really inspired by 2 things. First was the definite potential it had to be adapted into Hindi for our Hindi-speaking audiences. And secondly, unfortunately, there is not a lot of information on the nature of this job. We've seen n number of films on soldiers and police officers and doctors and lawyers, but we actually know nothing about this particular field called forensic science, which is such an important asset in our criminal justice system. And I felt very strongly that it's strange that we've probably overlooked such an important aspect of our justice system, which plays such a crucial part, probably one of the most crucial parts. And then I said, I've never done something like this. It seems like a film which has great potential, and here I am sitting and talking to you, promoting the film a week in advance.
But honestly, Vikrant, honestly, because आपका जो नाम है and आपकी जो reputation है is like an actor who always does something different and will give us something different. Does that something? And I know you've said that it puts a lot of pressure. Doesn't put pressure. You're overwhelmed with it. Just challenges you to do better, which you have been constantly. But थोड़ा anxiety, थोड़ा सा overwhelming, थोड़ा सा pressure आता है क्या नहीं? You're okay with it.
काफी थोड़ा नहीं, काफी आता है. Because you've been a part of my journey very, very closely, and I have no qualms in admitting that you're not just a journalist I meet every year. You've literally been with me through my journey, and you've cheered on from the aisles. You've been that generous enough. I am living a dream. I am literally living a dream, and very few get an opportunity to do that. So here I am living the dream. So I better understand the responsibility that it sort of entrusts me with. There are people out there who want to live my life. There are so many people who want to be in my position. There are so many people who are rooting for me, and I better be worth their time and money. And hence, I am mindful about what I do or what I bring out every year. and it's been good so far. But there might be a day when I might not land right, and it happens. It's very human for that to happen. Also because actors like me, we have very little margin for error. I've said this before. So the idea is to be consistent, and as far as I am consistent and worth your time and money, I will have you cheering for me from the aisles, and that means the world to me.
Absolutely, that would be always, because you're someone who does. वो आजकल आपके इंडस्ट्री में एक वर्ड है ना जो मेरे को कभी नहीं समझ आया, हटके. But in your case, आप हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ हटके ही करते हैं. But you know, recently a whole lot of people have been talking about the fact. I don't know whether you agree or disagree with it, that there is a sense of complacency that वो सबको OTT पे पता चल गया कि ये फॉर्मूला चलता है. आजकल हम वो ही दे रहे हैं. थिएटर में जो पिक्चरें जा रही हैं, like Manoj Bajpayee said that, no one's talking about the performance. Nobody's talking about the talent. पैसे कितने, you know, कितने बने हैं. Are you also observing this, that there's a kind of a complacency, or we are just stuck to one thing?
I think redundancy has set in like since a while. Like if you're strictly talking about cinema, the priority there is definitely box office, and I completely agree with Manoj sir when he says this, that after a while, unfortunately, it tends to only be about box office numbers, irrespective of the quality. But thank God for OTT, and thank God for our exposure to world-class cinema and international cinema, that we've suddenly woken up from our slumber and decided to pull up our socks and probably utilize whatever potential actually lies within. And yeah, and I think a lot of people have sort of just woken up with a jolt. Some probably woke up some time back and have come to realization that quality is a very key asset when it comes to being worth people's monies and times. I think it's paramount. So yeah, I think that's the case. That is the case. But thank God for really inquisitive, curious, and intelligent audiences, because our consumption patterns have changed. The kind of things we want to see or we choose to devote our time and monies to has changed. It's a slow process, but the change has already begun, and I think in the next few years, or rather, I think it's an ongoing cycle. It will never come to an end. But the cycle is for change, which is a good thing actually.
So playing a detective, you know, forensic expert. Aapki industry, I mean, you're part of the industry, but you're also not part of the industry, I would say. You keep your professional and personal life so separate that picture ki Vikrant Massey picture के promotion में दिखता है, उसके बाद किसी को नहीं पता Vikrant Massey कर क्या रहा है, which is brilliant. Which is that one mystery that you want to solve. अगर आपको दिया जाए कि ये industry में मैं ये कैसे crack करूँगा, ये वो क्या होगा?
Mystery.
हाँ, जो I mean that intrigues you. कि खुलासा, I mean कैसे करूँ investigate?
नहीं यार, ऐसे I mean to each their own यार. हम सबके closet में demons हैं, ठीक है? So I would not want anyone to do that. Neither would I trespass onto someone else. But one thing that अगर मान लो, मतलब अगर if I could, you know, if I could turn invisible, चलो hypothetically, you know, a wish granted true, I would definitely want to sort of unearth the fake ticket distribution scandal. Yeah, I think I would really want to do that. I would really want to know कि क्या सच में ऐसा होता है, और अगर ऐसा होता है तो कैसा होता है.
Which is what is another aspect that has always remained a mystery to you, that you can't like wrap your head around.
Many things like popularly the Bermuda Triangle. I really don't know why, or there are multiple scientific narratives or academic narratives.
I'm also intrigued.
And also in the age of propaganda and misinformation, you really don't know which one to rely on, because there are so many variations to one particular thing. The Bermuda Triangle has really, you know, intrigued me since a child. Since a child, I've always been intrigued कि वहाँ पे होता क्या है. Sorry. And yeah, I think yeah, ऐसी ही है, मतलब ऐसी ही चीजें हैं, मतलब nothing too deep and serious types, you know.
If you could turn detective for a day, which is one case from the bygone era, or someone that you would want to investigate and like do your little Sherlock Holmes or Bhumkesh Bakshi to it?
यार अगर I really want to know what happened to MH370, the plane that vanished. We still have no idea about that plane. कि कहाँ गायब हो गया. There are a few, but those cases have been cracked. So yeah, I don't know. Uh, yeah, matlab MH370 has probably really intrigued me. Maybe I would want to go back into the Roman era and probably want to, just sort of just find out more about Marcus Aurelius, something like that. Yeah, मतलब ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं.
बहुत deep हो आप sir. But have you been fascinated by whodunits and any detective whose work, like, something that's fascinated you?
So Sherlock is an all-time favorite. I think a lot of us love Sherlock because there have been so many versions of Sherlock. We've seen Robert Downey play Sherlock. We've seen Benedict Cumberbatch play Sherlock, and we've read of Sherlock. Byomkesh Bakshi, again, we've seen versions of him. We've read about him. These people really have interesting or intriguing personalities. Yeah, in popular parlance, I think these are the only two people. चाचा चौधरी तो मतलब ठीक है, doesn't qualify.
Everyone grew up now, reading Chacha Chaudhary. But Vikrant, over the years, it's been what, over a decade? How has your process and method changed? Do you have to keep adapting yourself to times, or do you remain with the same mindset that you came in, that I would want to do something different and I'll only do the kind of cinema that appeals to me?
See, adapting is such a continuous process that it is a continuous process. And while you're adapting and observing and probably imbibing things on the way, you keep shedding things, you keep retaining certain things, and you keep shedding certain things and keep retaining certain things. So it's an ongoing process. So there are things which I have retained, there are things which I have shed, there are things which I have just observed or come to know of, even after 18 years of work. So the process definitely keeps changing. You're a different person within a month. So I think a decade is far too long to talk about. So we are all changing. We are all work in progress. So things keep adding up. Things keep parting ways. So I think there's no one thing, but the process does keep changing, and I think a lot of it is based on life experience for any artist, whether writer, painter, anyone. When you believe you're creative enough, I think a lot of your creativity is dependent on what you process around, what you see or sort of uh, sometimes indulging. So उन चीजों पे डिपेंड करता है.
और एक और आपसे ये मैं बात पूछना चाहती हूँ, अगर आज तो बहुत वार्तालाप हो रही है ऑन हाउ के रीमेक बना, काफी भी रीमेक है, what do you have to say? Language debate. I mean, we are a country that has different languages. I mean, the length and breadth of this country, everyone speaks a different dialect, they speak a different script, and they speak a different language. What, as an actor and a creative person who's open to all kinds of cinema and languages, has to say about this?
See, from what I see it as, I think, unfortunately, most of the noise that we see around this thing is created by people who are zero stakeholders in the world of cinema. They have nothing to do with this profession. They could be diehard fans. They could be diehard fans of their respective industries or languages and culture, which is fair enough. But I think people within don't see it that way. So I call it noise because it's at the periphery. The ones who are working within don't see it that way. And with regards to the way I see it, I think to each their own. See, primarily one of the reasons why one actually attempts at a remake is because it's a great film or a good film, and it has tremendous potential to be adapted and shared with other parts of the country. It is only now in the last 3 years, and specifically in the last 3 years, that we've also woken up suddenly and realized the quality of regional cinema. Up until lockdown, nobody probably sitting in their homes besides the respective regions recognized the power and you know, the modernization of regional cinema.
Absolutely.
And the results we see today, and hence the debates. So all of it is very nascent. Most of it is futile. You know, it's a great opportunity to sit back and rejoice rather than create a divide. And the ones who are leading from the front, who are probably wanting to ignite this conversation, definitely have, you know, notorious motives, and it it seems that way right at the outset. The motive is notorious, to create a divide. Uh, but as I said, you know, people within, I haven't met someone who is working day in, day out, or who is a part of the film industry or the Indian film industry. I'm not restricting it to the Hindi film industry. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. It's at the sidelines by people who are zero stakeholders. So that's how I see it as. And yeah, I mean, if you feel like making a remake, adapting a remake, why not? You know, it's a form of bestowing some amount of respect on the original work that you really want to adapt it into whatever you want to adapt it, and want to share it with more people. And by the end of it, it's business. You know, if let's understand that we are in the business of entertainment. If there is a producer who feels right about selling the rights of his or her film, then why not? You know, there'll always be noise at the periphery. So I think it's just noise.
I agree. And also the other noise, and I have a case for you to solve अगर आप अपने detective skills लगा सकते हो.
मैं वही सोच रहा था कि how can I go without playing a game or something interesting, something out of the box with you. I knew it.
So a lot of your colleagues and I also feel आजकल आपकी इंडस्ट्री में भी टैलेंट एंड ऑडिशंस होते हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ योर सोशल मीडिया नंबर्स. हम लोगों को भी आज तक exclusives मिलते हैं on the basis of our social media numbers. कैसे क्रैक करें हम ये केस?
Now you know what it feels like. Now you know. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. We can share our grief together. I've been experienced enough.
क्या करें यार इसके लिए? क्या इसका क्या कैसे खुलासा करें इसका हम?
कुछ नहीं है, बस अपना काम करते रहो. ये सारी चीजें टेम्पररी हैं. Quality can never be out of fashion. Quality will always be in fashion. That's it.
Okay. So if you were a fly on the wall in someone's life and wanting to know why did they do what they did, could be a person from the past, कौन होगा वो इंसान?
Why did they do what they did? Quite a lot of people, you know.
Just wanting to know, just a fly on the wall, just observing them.
Like, I would like to be a fly on the wall in some government office, you know, or मतलब इतनी important चीजें होती है वहाँ पे यार.
Office, I thought बोलोगे John F. Kennedy बोलोगे.
I mean, John F. Kennedy नहीं यार, मतलब he died way before I was born, and I've only read about him. Say maybe Gandhi. Maybe Mahatma Gandhi, maybe Gandhi is someone I would want to observe.
ठीक है. And after आजकल वैसे आपने अपना food fetish बताया था, ketchup था, but आजकल कुछ change हो गया. Who actually wears the pants in the house? आप क्या lady?
See, घर के अंदर तो it is her, because that's how it's always been. Even whether married or not married, she's the one who calls the shots, because that's her space, and she's been very categorically clear about it. And because she wears the pants, and because she's the one who calls the shots, my life is far more easier. Otherwise, I will not be able to do what I do right now.
Awesome. It was such a pleasure speaking to you, and I hope to meet you in person very soon.
Yes,
all the very best.
I am in Delhi.
I would say keep doing what you're doing. Keep exciting.
I am in Delhi for 50 days, and we have to catch up for sure. And
मैं आपको मैसेज करूंगी.
WhatsApp पे बात करेंगे फिर.
वो वही तो WhatsApp पे बात करेंगे, और ये भी खुलासा करेंगे कैसे करें हम नंबर, सोशल मीडिया नंबर, इन्फ्लुएंसर कैटेगरी कैसे बने हम.
यार, I mean, do it if you feel like, but the only thing I would say is if it kills you to get out of your comfort zone, don't do it. I mean, killing yourself for anybody is not worth it.
Absolutely.
But if you feel like doing it, you must do it, because there are certain things that are working and they're doing wonders for people, and that is also because people want all of that. People want to see these things, but it does not come naturally to some people like me. It doesn't mean that the ones who are doing it are foolish. No, I mean, they are really smart. In fact, they have probably more talent than me to multitask. I can't. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nor can I. As I suggested to Imtiaz Ali, you should make a film Love in the Time of Reels now, because that's the only thing working.
Love in the Time of Reels, or Love in the Time of Swipe Right.
सही में यार, सही में. Anyway, go मिलते हैं, but all the very best. Looking forward.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you. Gonna see you really, really soon. Really soon.
Yeah, likewise. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.